Hi everyone. I'm in the far west, which is sometimes how I'm feeling when I'm in class with you. All right, so I'm just going to add a little video to that page about basically how to keep improving your English without a teacher, because this is something that I recommend that you do, is to not depend on a teacher. It's not the teacher who teaches you, it's you who learn, you know? So, well, I'm not going to repeat everything I wrote in this page, you have to read that. But I will insist on some points and maybe clarify a few things. So, first of all, I insist. I am emphasizing the idea of pleasure. This is an essential condition for you to improve your English, and it's an essential condition for you to learn anything. It's to enjoy. So you find pleasure in English, or maybe not necessarily in English, but you find pleasure in learning, in improving, in changing maybe a little bit. This is what's exciting when you're learning things. For example, I wish I was still a student, and I wish I wasn't so stupid 20 years ago when I slept in class and did not arrive on time. Right. So first thing, you enjoy. You find a way to have pleasure. Another thing, which I find important, is to really be practical, pragmatic. That is to say, you need to be specific about what you need to improve, what you need to be able to do with English. So really think about why you want to learn English, what do you want to do with English, and then all the time identify your difficulties, your problems. And for example, well, if you have defined that you want to be able to speak in public without hesitating all the time and without being scared all the time, well, perhaps you need to learn vocabulary. You need to find a way to remember vocabulary. And for that, you need to define how you're going to do that. Well, I have given you some tips on my website, but you can find your thing. Another thing, so yeah, I insist on the idea of identifying your problems, identifying your difficulties, really specifically, and to attack them one by one. And yeah, for real, not run away. Right, another thing, very easy actually, is to hear your voice. So very often you will be completely scared of speaking that foreign language, and it will be terrifying for you to simply talk to your neighbor in English. So something that you can practice at home is simply read something out loud, lire tout, and listen to your voice, even record yourself. Don't be scared. You have to get used to your voice. You have to accept it. You have to accept your accent, all your flaws, tous vos défauts. It's okay. You're perfect, and you're going to be even more perfect if you believe in that. So another thing that I find also important is that if you want to learn something, if you want to change, you have to get a little bit uncomfortable. We always use the expression getting out of your comfort zone. That's really what you have to do. If you're stuck into some kind of routine, well, you're probably not going to really improve. What else? So, of course, I recommend that you write as much as you can, get a little notebook. Yeah, this is another idea that I mentioned in my page in French, about how to learn English without a teacher. Comment apprendre l'anglais sans prof. Very important, get a notebook, something on which you can write all that comes to your mind in English. So it can be new vocabulary, new questions, new structures, new grammar. It can also be new questions And it's something that you need to be able to have with you all the time. That is extremely important. And I'm thinking especially in terms of vocabulary. Whenever you learn something new, write it down, and so you can read it once in a while, as often as you like. Well, regularly. Think directly in English. So I gave you tips on that. This is essential. And know that thinking directly in English, you don't need to be bilingual to do that. Precisely, this is how you can become bilingual, thinking directly in English. If you stay at the stage at which you're always translating from your language, you will not improve. You will keep being scared, you will keep hesitating, you will not remember vocabulary, and know that you know much more than you think. Somewhere in your brain, a lot of vocabulary is stored. And so if you believe, if you're optimistic, if you relax, and if you do it, you will be able to access that vocabulary. So just don't hesitate and go for it. And also very important, you have to create a little bit of discipline, self-discipline. So, well, I recommend that you plan each week and that you introduce a little bit of English in it, in each of your days, like even if it's 5 or 10 minutes. Ideally, it's better if it's maybe 20, 30 minutes, but if you are consistent, régulier, you will create a habit, your brain will create a habit, and it's going to take less effort for you to work on your English. And with that discipline, you will become a little bit more happy and you will have more motivation for practicing your English, and this will simply give you a feeling of freedom and accomplishment, which is really great and which will bring more and more things to you, and not only in English. And last thing, as I was telling you on the first step, enjoy the learning process. Enjoy the whole thing. Don't necessarily think about the ultimate goal of, being bilingual in English, or stop being a super great shit in English, or whatever it is you call it. But enjoy simply this process of learning. As they say in Eastern philosophy, there is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. Il n'y a pas de chemin vers le bonheur. Le bonheur, c'est le chemin lui-même. This is a great quote. And maybe I can end with, so I'm recommending a very, very good book as well in this video, so you can just click on the links. I'm also explaining some little techniques, little drills, des exercices that you can do. So I recommend that you do a little bit of drills and des exercices in your head, not necessarily writing, but in your head. Like, for example, playing with the tenses, like, for example, okay, I play football, I will play football, I am playing football, I have played football, and to remember that kind of thing. And for example, also the tense, the logical articulation of tenses, like if I won at the lottery, I would give my money to the poor, or whatever. So yeah, do drills in your heads. In the book that I'm recommending to you, the guy gives you a lot of ideas as well. And yes, I will end with this little saying that I love. It's in the Bible, but I think it's been said all over the world. So let me try to remember it. But I think it's very inspiring for your whole lives. It says, it depends on the order. Sometimes people use another order, but I will use this one. Give me the courage to change what I can change, the serenity to accept what I cannot change, and the wisdom to distinguish between the two. Basically, in French, that translates as donne-moi le courage de changer ce que je peux changer, la sérénité d'accepter ce que je ne peux pas changer, et la sagesse pour distinguer entre les deux. And that's the last word. Bye bye, everyone.